Captain Morty commands the sky. Captain Morty commands the sky. Focus question. How do Morty's feeling about flying change by the end of the story? The airport was abuzz as mice scurried frantically in every direction to catch their flights. Grandma held Dad's arm and Morty followed them to the ticket counter. Where are you traveling today? A smiling agent asked. The Dad turned to Morty. Oh, Morty thought. Dad really expects me to be in church. He cleared his throat. San Jose, California. That flight departs in 1 hour, she said. May I have your tickets? Yes, Morty replied while Dad handed the tickets to the agent. She inspected the tickets. Morty and Mabel, are you checking any language? Yes, Morty answered. Set them on the belt, please. Morty heaved Grandma's suitcase and his Mega Mouse duffel onto the belt, and the agent put tags on the bags before the belt moved them out of sight. These are your boarding passes. The security checkpoint is around the corner, and your flight departs from gate C33. Morty's paw was shaking when he took back the tickets. Have a nice flight, chirped the agent. Dad walked them to a long, winding line under a sign that read, Security Checkpoint, ticketed passengers only. Dad wrapped Morty in a hug. You'll do fine, he assured. He hugged Grandma too. Have a good trip, Mother, and said hello to everyone for me. Morty guided Grandma into the line. I haven't been this nervous since the All-State Spelling Bee, he thought as his paws began to sweat. Grandma had moved in with Morty's family years ago when she lost her eyesight. She never asked for much, but she longed to attend her granddaughter's wedding. They trusted Morty to accompany her. You are to be her eyes, he had instructed. You know, Morty whispered to Grandma, I'm 10 and this is my first time on an airplane. You know, Grandma replied softly, I am 84 and this is my first time too. Morty gulped. Grandma, you've never flown before? No, sweetie. This will be a first for both of us. When I was your age, we didn't even have a car. Can you believe you will be in California tonight? Morty observed the other passengers as the line inched forward. When it was their turn, Morty placed Grandma's purse on the moving belt to be scanned. Then he took off his shoes and bent to help remove Grandma's. She can't keep her shoes on if she's over 75, the security officer hollered. Morty stood and led Grandma ahead. She passed through the metal detector and waited on the other side. The officer motioned Morty through, but an alarm blared the moment he stepped forward. Stand over here, the officer directed. He waved the wand over Morty's pants pocket. Something in here, he said. Molly pulled a paw full of coins with his pocket. The officer held out a bowl, and Morty dropped his savings in. Now try again, the officer said. This time there was no alarm. Morty scooped his money from the bowl and handed Grandma a purse. He grasped her paw hurriedly and rushed away, embarrassed. Grandma, do you have our tickets? No, honey, I thought you had them. Morty panicked. Stand right here and don't move. I'll be right back. Morty scampered back to security where the officer stood, waving the tickets in his hand. Did you forget something? He asked. Thanks. Which direction is gate C33? Morty tried to act as if he traveled all the time. The officer examined the tickets and pointed Morty in the direction of his gate. Hurry along or you'll miss your flight. Morty secured by to Grandma. Don't worry, I found our tickets and I know where we're going. She squeezed Morty's paw. I know I could count on you. They arrived at gate C-33 right on schedule, and soon Morty and Grandma boarded the plane. The attendant helped them to their seats, where Morty buckled his and Grandma's seat belts. Morty clutched Grandma's paw and gazed out the window as the plane lifted off. His stomach dropped as he felt himself being pressed into the seat. After they had been flying for a while, the flight attendant pushed the cart down the aisle of the plane, offering drink and snacks. Morty was sipping his juice and munching peanuts when he heard glowing noises coming from Grandma. She was asleep and snoring. Luckily, no one seemed to notice. Some passengers were reading, a few were typing on their laptops, and others had earphones in and their eyes shut. Morty relaxed when he heard other passengers snoring too. I'm like Mega Mouse, flying through the clouds over millions of mice, he mused. Suddenly the plane jolted. The captain has asked everyone to return to their seats and fasten their seat belts. We are experiencing some turbulence, announced the flight attendant. Morty checked his and Grandma's seat belts to make sure they were secure. The plane bumped up and down. It felt like he was riding his skateboard on gravel. Is this what turbulence means? Is the plane going to crash? Morty gripped the armrests. Moments later, the jostling stopped, and Morty was astonished to see that Grandma was still snoozing. Soon, Morty's eyelids dropped, and he dozed off. Grandma woke Morty. Sugar, they just announced that we are descending into San Jose. Can you see anything? Morty looked out the window and saw thousands of little lights sparkling below. Some were clustered in squares, while others formed long straight lines with moving lights between them. I can't see streets, Morty told Grandma. With very small cars. The lights grew bigger as the plane approached the ground. Thud! The plane landed and immediately slowed. Morty kept a firm grip on Grandma's paw just in case she was scared. After the other passengers left, Morty got off from his seat and led Grandma toward to where the pilot stood in a crisp uniform. Nice landing, Morty said confidently. Thanks for the ride. The pilot grinned. My pleasure. Thank you for flying with us. Is this your first time? Morty wanted her to think he was a frequent flyer who knew a good landing from a bad one. Yes, he admitted. I came along to help my Grandma. Looks like you're doing a fine job, the pilot said as she turned to the flight attendant. Do we have wings for these flights sort? Yes, Captain, she said and presented Morty with his very own gold wings. Thanks. Morty dropped Grandma's hand to pin the wings on his jacket. Would you like to peek inside the cockpit? The pilot asked as she stepped aside. Wow, Morty squeaked. There were knobs, buttons, gauges, dials, levers, and colorful indicator lights were everywhere he looked. You have to be really smart to fly a plane. It isn't like Mega Mouse at all. The pilot laughed. Mega Mouse only flies himself, she said. I am so safely transported 168 passengers. Morty told Grandma what he had seen in the cockpit as they walked through the bustling San Jose airport. He guided her paw so she could feel his wings. He remembered Dad telling him, just follow the baggage claim signs. Morty was searching for their suitcases on the moving belt when he heard scampering behind him. His uncle caught him in a big hug while Grandma embarrassed his aunt, tears of happiness in her eyes. How was your trip? Uncle asked. Great, Morty said. What's this? his uncle wondered, squinting at Morty's new pen. Your first time flying, and you already on your wings? Morty smiled from ear to ear, and threw his paws in the air. I am Captain Morty Mouse, Commander of the Skies.